Morning and welcome to Morning Gospel Fuel with Mr. It is Thursday, July 28th, the 17th week of Ordinary Time, and it is the feast day of Blessed Stanley Rother, born in Okarche, Oklahoma. He was for the Archdiocese of Oklahoma City. Well, Oklahoma City, Tulsa, back in the day, but before they split into two separate dioceses. But anyway, Blessed Stanley believe that is what brought me to Oklahoma, to get to know and learn a lot about his life of simplicity and hard work, and also humility. He was kicked out of the seminary because he supposedly wasn't smart enough. So then, after being away for a little while, went back on the farm. He was able to find a seminary in Maryland, so Mount St. Mary's of the East. So he is definitely a model of perseverance. But he was just really a carpenter, a workman, with different projects in the Archdiocese of Oklahoma City, because the bishop didn't really think he was fit to be a parish priest. Even though he was a diocesan priest, but he did a lot of, he was never fully in charge of his own parish in the States until he served his calling within the call of being a missionary priest out in Guatemala. And that's where he really thrived. And even though he couldn't learn Latin and struggled heavily with academics, he was able to learn the tribal language of his people and translate the New Testament of the Bible. But yeah, anyway, I learned a lot about Blessed Stanley Rother. I'm in the midst of reading his autobiography of his life. So reading a book about his life, which was written by one of my former co-workers' sisters while I was out in Oklahoma, which is pretty cool. Anyway, please pray for his intercession. Please pray for his canonization. There needs to be a couple miracles through his intercession in order for him to be elevated into sainthood. So it's blessed, and then is it venerable, and then saint? But either way, prayers through and with his intercession for Blessed Stanley. So since he is a martyr, he's not officially the patron saint of anything, because he is blessed, but eventually I'd imagine he would be the patron saint of Oklahoma, especially the Archdiocese of Oklahoma City and even Tulsa. But I'm not going to presume, but he is a martyr, so that is translated to a witness of the faith, which is what we are called to do in our own life. And it's kind of hit upon in the gospel. Today's gospel is from Matthew chapter 13, verses 47 through 53. Let's begin in the name of the Father, Son, and Spirit. Amen. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like a net thrown into the sea, which collects fish of every kind. When it is full, they haul it ashore and sit down to put what is good into buckets. What is bad, they throw away. Thus it will be at the end of the age. The angels will go out and separate the wicked from the righteous and throw them into the fiery furnace, where there will be wailing and grinding of teeth. Do you understand all these things? They answered, Yes. And he replied, Then every scribe who has been instructed in the kingdom of heaven is like the head of a household who brings from his storeroom both the new and the old. When Jesus finished these parables, he went away from there. All right, so we got the parable of course, separating the good from the wicked, and the reality of that. And then we have the treasures of the new and the old. And then the footnote says, making sure that it is our duty to understand the law and the prophets from the Old Testament, as well as the teachings of Jesus from the New Testament, which is why there are so many parallels between the new and the old. But yet there are many differences. Of course, if you're introducing the faith to somebody and for the first time teaching them how to read Scripture, generally you start with the Gospels, the life of Jesus, because Jesus is God made man. So try to get people in relationship with Jesus through the introduction to the Gospels and the life of what Jesus did and the sacrifice and his teachings, and then go back and kind of start through with the Old Testament as well as the other parts of the New. So what I think really sticks out here, since yesterday's gospel was similar, if you compare it to the first half of today's, I want to focus on the question, do you understand all these things? And then they answered yes. So there are so many different denominations of Christianity out there. And you have the Catholics, then which are Christian, and then the Christians, which have Protestants that have thousands of different denominations, all that claim to go off Scripture alone, which is ironic to me. But I think the question is, no matter what your faith is, imagine Jesus asking you this question, and ask yourself this question: do you understand your faith? Do you understand, and are you able to kind of relay what your faith teaches? Whether it be Catholic, Methodist, Protestant, Seventh-day Adventist, Episcopalian, there's so many. But are you able to defend with right and reason of why your faith and specific faith makes sense to you? And can you defend it to others with clarity and with confidence and through study and through prayer? So we want our answer to that question to be, because I know that was one of my biggest concerns whenever I went to college. I didn't want to go to college, or after I went to college, I really started studying the faith more, joined a Bible study and whatnot. And I didn't really see Catholicism lived out the way that I thought it should be, according to the teachings of Jesus and the Gospels. And so I was like, I don't know about Catholicism. And then I studied it because I didn't want to be Catholic just because my mommy and daddy were. I kind of wanted to have that accountability on my own and that independence. And then through study, everything made sense logically in my mathematical brain. That was very helpful. Which can also be a curse sometimes too, where you try to make sense of every little thing. But take the good with the bad. Whenever it comes to our strengths and our weaknesses. But that is something that I think that we should all do, is do we understand our faith? Do we understand it mentally, emotionally, internally? Do we understand it with our words so that we can do apologetics and teach other people? But most importantly, do we understand it through our actions and through how we treat other people, through how we live our lives? So a little longer today, but I think I went on a little long reflection on Blessed Stanley Rother, but he's my guy. So have a great day. God bless. Keep it real. And the Father, Son, and Spirit, amen.